All right, another day of roster construction for the 49ers is underway. I actually think that today a little bit more interesting than the 53-man cutdown. There are no real surprises on the 53-man cutdown as we broke down in detail on Tuesday, but today it's waiver claim day and the waiver wire has processed for Tuesday. And the 49ers have had 3 players claimed, which is an NFL high, tied with Buffalo. So all of the rumors and all of the speculation that the NFL was chomping at the bit to raid the 49ers' very deep roster, well, that's all come to fruition. The 49ers players who were claimed today off of waivers: DeSean Jamison, the cornerback by Carolina; Il Manning and Keith Ishmael, the offensive linemen by Arizona. So all 3 of those players, both of those linemen are headed to other teams. Crazy day for the 49ers. Now, they had hoped that they were going to be able to keep DeSean Jamison. They obviously won't be able to. This was a calculated risk, but they knew that they were taking a risk when they decided to waive DeSean Jamison, and that risk ended up turning into losing a player. They just didn't have room on the 53-man roster to take another cornerback. I think that they probably would have thought a little bit differently about DeSean Jamison had he been a little bit more stable as a punt returner. He did muff that punt against Denver. This team, needed special teams adaptability from the get-go out of anybody, especially players on the fringes of their 53-man roster. And DeSean Jamison was a great returner at Texas, but stuff changes. The speed of the game changes at the NFL level, and it looked like he was still going to need some work to be comfortable being a punt returner for the 49ers. As far as the offensive lineman who the 49ers lost, well, this was a decision, and I think it was one that the 49ers had to make between Nick Zakelj and Il Manning, who was going to be the final offensive lineman to make the 53-man roster. And at the end of the day, the 49ers did go with Nick Zakelj, who is just much more of a prototypical NFL-type body. Bigger body, is going to play guard in all likelihood at the NFL level long term. That's where he's been working, guard and center. But he might have some tackle flexibility. That's where he played in college. Still, Zakelj, bigger body, longer arms. Il Manning, ultimate underdog kind of guy, right? He was playing tackle during training camp, but at 6'2", the 49ers were dead set on him being a guard at the NFL level. Would have been even a little undersized for that, and they just decided, well, we've got to go with the higher upside guy. On top of that, I think that Nick Zakelj has shown the 49ers enough here in 2 years cerebrally that they think he could be a center in the future. And again, a lot of people are like, well, he had a lot of penalties in the preseason. He got beat a couple times. Yes. Nobody's saying that Nick Zakelj is ready-made right now. Il Manning wasn't ready-made either. Il Manning also lost a critical rep when Trey Lance got crunched from the backside when he was trying to go for Cam Latu on that corner route that he left short because he got hit so hard. That was Il Manning getting beat off of left tackle. So you don't have perfect resumes for either player. Nick Zakelj, though, is not going to be the first off the bench when it comes to the interior line positions. That's why they signed John Feliciano. So that's going to be John Feliciano's job for the 49ers to come off the bench. Zakelj, they're still developing. And, I talked about it yesterday. At both stops prior to this, in high school in the Cleveland suburbs and then at Fordham University in the Bronx, Nick Zakelj did not start off looking good at all. But then he quickly rounded into form. Nick Zakelj wasn't ready last year to play for the 49ers, but they knew that he's got a lot of potential, a lot of moldable clay, and he has rounded into form. He's cut from 320 to 305. His body looks a lot more ready to play NFL football, especially by the 49ers rules and their scheme. And they think that by, I think, later this year, maybe even moving into next year, he's going to be a guy they can really count on. You look at somebody like Colton McKivitz, didn't look great in his first couple of years either. Looks a whole lot better now. They're counting on him as their starting right tackle. I mean, these players can develop, and the 49ers are putting their bets on Nick Zakelj, given the physical capabilities there, given the longer arms to keep the opposing defensive linemen at bay. They're putting that bet over somebody like Il Manning, and they hope, don't get me wrong, they're disappointed that Il Manning was claimed by Arizona. The Cardinals, by the way, claimed 6 players. Talk about having a crappy roster. They landed 6 players through the waiver claim process. Keep in mind that the 49ers had 3 claimed from them. That was an NFL high. The Cardinals claimed 6. So that's how it's looking for Manning moving forward to Arizona. He's going to be on a team where he has a lot better chance to actually make an early impact, since that roster for the Arizona Cardinals is not good at all. So the 49ers are adding to their practice squad as we speak, now that the waiver claim process from yesterday has been completed. We can take a look at the 49ers practice squad additions. This is a look at the 49ers roster. You can see my practice squad projection at right. I just highlighted it. I'm going to zoom in on that half of the screen so you can see it a little bit clearer. The green shades are the players who have reportedly been signed to the 49ers practice squad. So good news for the 49ers, Jack Coletto, fullback, cleared waivers. So he's on the roster now. Here's the depth chart, Jack Coletto. Right side of this delineating line is the 49ers practice squad. Moving down, Marlon Davidson, defensive tackle out of Auburn, War Eagle. Marlon Davidson is on the 49ers practice squad. By the way, Auburn come in to play Cal next weekend. Not this weekend, but next. That's going to be here in the Bay Area the night before the 49ers play the Pittsburgh Steelers. T.Y. McGill, defensive tackle, perfect practice squad candidate, right? With McGill, it's been interesting because T.Y. signed a contract worth $400,000 guaranteed, and the practice squad minimum is $371,000, or the practice squad maximum. The practice squad maximum is $371,000. I am fairly certain that there was offset language, and I'll confirm this in the contract for T.Y. McGill, saying if you don't make the team, we can offset some of that $400,000 guaranteed with the $371,000 practice squad max. So the finances are going to be interested there because the 49ers cap situation is tight. I'm going to get to that in just a second. First, why don't we go through the rest of the 49ers practice squad additions? They're able to clear Leroy Watson through to the practice squad. So I have him here. He's going to, that's big news too, especially since somebody like Keith Ismail was claimed. I think that it would have not been shocking to see somebody like Leroy Watson, who's a nice developmental prospect at tackle, get claimed, but he didn't get claimed. He's on the practice squad. And so is Curtis Robinson, who should have some good flexibility to be called up. So, but at the linebacker position, you see here, 49ers have two rookies on the 53, Winters and Graham. These guys might not be ready to contribute at the level the 49ers want them to from the very get-go. Linebacker is an important position to be able to call guys up, and Curtis Robinson's a trusted commodity on special teams. Especially early in the season, you might see the 49ers use their two call-ups for Curtis Robinson. Same thing, I'm really looking forward to see who they have at receiver, because here's my projected practice squad, right? I have four receivers. I have Isaiah Winstead, I have Tay Martin, I have Willie Snead, and I have Chris Conley projected to make it. Because I think the 49ers, with the two injuries in the receiver room, with the injuries to Danny Gray and the Ray McLeod, may need some very quick call-ups from the practice squad. So 5 spots taken, 11 spots still left on the practice squad. We're still waiting for some more news. I'm going to answer some of your questions, and as I answer questions, maybe we'll get some more of these practice squad signings in. Today, the 49ers will finish up, I think, the entire 16-man practice squad because they practice at 3 p.m. We're going to talk to Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch in between 2 and 3 today, so I'm going to head down to the facility a little bit after this. When we discuss all this with the coaches, I'm sure the personnel department's going to be finishing up some of the signings so that all 16 guys on the practice squad can hit the practice field. That's why the 49ers practice a little bit later today than usual. Tomorrow, they're going to be out there earlier. Labor Day weekend off, back out on the field Monday. Obviously, the Nick Bosa situation is probably at the forefront of the drama list right now for the 49ers. All right, so I am going to open up a 49ers Q&A if I could get to the comment section right now. It's not letting me click on the comment section. I think StreamYard is being buggy this morning. Oh, there it is. Good. It's very slow, but it's up there. Just afraid this thing is not being very responsive with any of the clicks. Do I think the 49ers took a risk with DeSean Jamison because they had Darrell Luter Jr. waiting in the wings? Absolutely. That's one of the reasons they had a crowded DB room. one of the most positive developments of 49ers training camp was the fact that they had so many younger DBs show out. Remember, we entered training camp saying, ooh, what's the DB depth going to look like? This is a little sketchy. Ambry Thomas reemerged. Samuel Womack played well. I think Darrell Luter, who's on PUP, but I think he's close to being healthy, if not fully healthy. So he'll be ready to go by maybe week 5 because he has to be out at least 4 weeks being on PUP, not taking up a roster spot. I think you have all those bodies, and then DeSean Jamison threw himself into the mix. Well, at a certain point, you've got to make trade-offs. There's priorities that you've got to take. And the 49ers said, well, we have Ambry Thomas. We have Diamaro Lenora able to play the slot right to supplement Isaiah Oliver. We have Samuel Womack, and we have Darrell Luter Jr. I think they said all of those things, and those were all weighed into the calculus when deciding whether or not to carry DeSean Jamison on the roster. Jamison now with the Carolina Panthers. Guys, rumors are rumors. Don't trust rumors in any direction. I saw some report that Bosa might sign in the next couple of days. Here's the thing. It's likely to happen and then before September 10th. Yes, that's all I can say. Right? But until we have something that's verified, not hearsay, on the spot, then we can just go in circles with all these Bosa rumors. We know that there's deadline pressure. We know that it's a negotiation. We know the salary cap dynamics. We know that the 49ers and Bosa are both incentivized to play hardball. That should be all that we talk about right now. Rumors, especially stuff on Reddit like yesterday, throw it all out of the window. It's absolutely ridiculous. Like, please, it's like chasing our tail. Like it's not productive, and we're just going to go crazy if we follow every rumor down the rabbit hole. Joey Fisher's looked like a good developmental project. He's really strong. I mean, he benched more reps than any offensive lineman who went to the combine this year. And Joey Fisher wasn't invited to the combine because he went to a tiny school, Liberty University. Worked as a locksmith. His dad runs a locksmith shop, and Joey Fisher worked as a locksmith in between football stints. I think he tried to play for Maryland, and then the staff changed, and then so he quit football for a while, came back for Shepherd University. And right on the Potomac there in West Virginia. So a hell of a story, strong player, raw prospect. Expect him to sign with the 49ers practice squad today. You could see that Joey Fisher is part of my 16 projected 49ers practice squatters right here. So far, we have word on 5 of them. We don't have official word for the 49ers, but that's based on some of Matt Barrow's reporting. I think Matt Mayoko reported the Curtis Robinson one. So the news today so far has been that the 49ers have lost an NFL high 3 players off waivers. So as expected, their roster has been really, really popular to raid, to poach. It's DeSean Jamison, Ilm Manning, and Keith Ismail. And now we wait to see what the rest of the 49ers practice squad additions are. Now, I do have to say that the 49ers cap situation is really, really tight. And I can illustrate that for you right here. This is my 49ers salary cap worksheet up on the screen right now. And the top 51 rule is in effect until week 1. So the 49ers have a little bit of breathing room. But as soon as the season starts, the 53-man roster plus the practice squad is what's going to be counting against the salary cap. So I have projections right here, and I was a little bit pessimistic with the salary cap. I made it more expensive than it probably will be just to make sure that I'd rather my calculations overshoot the cost than undershoot the cost. But this is the 53-man roster plus the players on injured reserve who the 49ers will have to pay for as well, plus estimates for the 16 practice squad spots. I'm going to start filling that out later. All against the 49ers adjusted cap of $237.5 million. Right now, my estimated tally is $238.5 million. Obviously, if the practice squad's a little bit cheaper, if the 49ers find an injury settlement with somebody like Zane Gonzalez, who's currently costing them quite a bit, 1.47 million. They can get under this amount. But this just illustrates the fact the 49ers are over the cap right now, over the 53-man cap. It illustrates the importance eventually of signing Nick Bosa, because Nick Bosa is actually here. I could even illustrate it for you. When they re-sign him, his cap hit's going to go down. As you can see, it's 17.9 million. Bosa is probably going to be down around 10 or 11 once they spread out the money in his contract. And look what that's going to do to the overall picture. Look, I just changed it to 10. Keep an eye on the red up at the top of the screen. Oh, it just turned to blue. Bosa himself, once he signs the contract, can take the 49ers from negative cap space to about 6 or 7 million in cap space. And guess what? To operate during the course of a regular season, teams like to start with at least 5 or 6 million in cap space. So you could very easily tell that the 49ers cap situation is dependent and reliant on Nick Bosa signing this contract for 2023. Now, as I've said, 2024 is an entirely different story. That's when they have way too much on the books. They're going to have to clear space, and they haven't even added Bosa yet. That's why this negotiation is so contentious, because the 49ers are worried about overcrowding 2024 and entering salary cap hell. They don't want to pay Bosa at the expense of the rest of their team, right? So they don't want to do that, but Bosa on the other side wants as much money as possible because he's the defensive player of the year, as is his prerogative. So you're looking at a stare down, but you're also looking at deadline pressure. They're playing the game of chicken. Who's going to swerve first? I don't know who's going to swerve first, but I do know that if nobody swerves, the two cars are going to crash on September 10th. There will be damage on September 10th if Bosa doesn't play. 49ers won't be able to field their defensive player of the year, and Nick Bosa is going to be losing money. So it's in nobody's interest. Both sides need each other. It's in nobody's interest for this to stretch out past week one. Unfortunately, sometimes stuff does stretch out past the point of being past the point of something that's beneficial for both sides. And it is possible that this lasts past week one, but we just have to take this day by day and see where negotiations go. And right now there's radio silence from both sides. All right, I could go back now that I've explained the 49ers cap situation. I probably, when they sign the rest of their practice squad, I'll come up with an update, unless I'm already on my way to the facility. That's going to happen at some point here within the next couple hours. We have the first few in. Again, right here, I could show you. 49ers practice squad so far. It's over here on the right. Coletto, Davidson, McGill, Watson, and Curtis Robinson. 3 players claimed off waivers: DeSean Jamison by Carolina, Il Manning, and Keith Ishmael by Arizona. As far as Il Manning goes, it was never Manning against the tackles, even though he played tackle. It wasn't Manning versus Pryor or Manning versus Jalen Moore. It was Il Manning as a developmental guard prospect versus somebody like Zakel. And Zakel is further along in the system. Zakel is a player who the 49ers think has made tremendous strides physically, and they think that maybe by next year or so, he's going to be able to round down, maybe even to a starter for the 49ers. So they're carrying him as that 9th developmental offensive lineman. You look at the Jamison. Yes, Darrell Luter had a part in that decision. Just crowded. With a 53-man roster that looks like this, it's a good one for the 49ers. There are not always easy decisions to make. Some of these decisions are going to be really tough. Okay, time for me to roll. Nice little 20-minute show here. 49ers cap situation is tight, but the Bosa contract and everything that they're working on, that's going to all play into the bigger picture. Hopefully, you're informed by this 49ers update. We'll have more for you very soon. Busy day. Kyle Shanahan, John Lynch coming up. I'm going to be on my way to the 49ers facility. Everybody have a good Wednesday. See you soon.